If I had to make a list of the most innovative, talented, and inspirational artists, for me personally, Overbay is near the top of the list. In my opinion, he is truly one of the best to ever do it, straight up. I can't tell you how honored I am to have him on the podcast. Let us know what your favorite part of Drew's interview was in the comments below on YouTube. Enjoy the episode, my friends, and welcome to the Poidcast. What's up, Drew? Welcome to the podcast, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on here.
Yeah, dude. When I first started getting the idea together for doing this podcast, you were one of the first people that I thought about getting onto the podcast. So thank you so much for joining me.
Awesome. I
So
appreciate
yeah, dude. So tell us, how did you first get started in Poi? Like, when were you introduced and how?
that. So I actually have a pretty funny story with Poi. I first encountered it probably like 2013 or so. I saw some guy at my local park in Knoxville, Tennessee, which is where I grew up, spinning some sock Poi. And funnily enough, I didn't really think it was that cool when I first saw it. I'm gonna be honest. Like I was like, this is okay. Like, I don't know. Flash forward like a few months, I went to a rainbow gathering. Actually, I was like very much in my hippie phase back then. Um, and I saw somebody with like flower sticks, and I thought that was like the jam. That was my first prop, actually.
Really?
So see some flower sticks there. Get home and immediately like find some. Did that for like maybe half a year until eventually I was at a festival with a bunch of my close friends who also spun poi at that time. They like picked it up in between that time, I guess.
Hmm.
Well, oh yeah, he like picked up poi. My friend Amin picked up poi like because of the guy in the park, because he was with me that day. He thought it was cool. I'm like, whatever,
Interesting.
on it. And then at Sonic Bloom, I think it was like 2014 or so. That was when my like breakthrough happened, when I was like, okay, poi is fun. I want to do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, and it's funny, you think about the little moments in life that seem insignificant when they're happening, but they just end up shaping our path and changing our lives inevitably. So it's really interesting. They kind of seem insignificant, and then it just leads to a lifetime of pursuing flow arts and poi. So it's really interesting to hear people's first moments on how they were exposed to it and their first initial thoughts. That's funny that you were like, poi, it's all right. It's all
Yeah.
right. Nice, dude. So, back then, when you were a newbie and learning the basics, who were your main inspirations? Like once you started spinning poi seriously, who did you really respect back then?
So absolutely, like my number one like mentor and the person who taught me everything is somebody who I ended up meeting in Knoxville too. His name is James Sparks. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I'm actually
If
not.
Okay. He doesn't post anything anymore. I don't even know if he like really spins poi like that anymore. Maybe like every now and then, but like he's mostly doing like a bunch of electric unicycle stuff now. But very good poi spinner. Like if you go back on his Instagram, you'll definitely like see all his older videos, and
Hmm.
that was the person who taught me everything. And you can definitely see like the style influence in my
Hmm.
style compared to his. Like
Nice.
he's a great spinner.
Nice, really cool. So, when you had started spinning and you got into poi, did you attend your first Flow Arts Festival? Because you've been a frequenter of many. So, when was your first experience doing that?
Uh, Very, very soon after beginning spinning poi, I began going to flow festivals. I think my very first year of spinning poi, I went to like 6.
Whoa, no
Yeah.
kidding. Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
so you were right
with
in.
my buddy James, who was like already going to these festivals,
Uh,
and he was just like looking for friends to go with, and I like just became his Padawan, and we like fucking hit 6 that
nice.
year. It
That's
was like
crazy.
Spin Summit, back when Spin Summit was a thing, Flame. kinetic,
Festivals that you still attend to this day.
huh?
Festivals that you still attend to this day.
Oh yeah,
Festival and
totally.
Flame and Kinetic and whatnot. Yeah, super cool. So, and then you are one of the best poi jugglers in the game, in my opinion. So, when did you start poi juggling? Like, how soon after when you started?
Well, first of all, I appreciate that. I don't really have the same thought about that, but
Get out of here, dude.
let's see. It was pretty quickly after spinning poi. I think maybe a little after a year or so.
Nice. You got into
Saw
three poi a little bit
saw
after.
a lot of people juggling poi. I think I decided to juggle balls first to like get my baseline
Hmm.
a little solid, and then moved on to poi like pretty quickly after that. Um,
Nice. Nice. So I currently am going through the juggle struggle. It is very hard out here in these poi juggling streets. So I am trying to learn more difficult patterns such as the 4 poi no beat cascade, which is a trick that
yeah.
you can nail on fire. So tell us tell us how long that trick took you to learn and how fucking difficult that pattern is because it is truly insane, bro.
uh, Dude, that trick still for me is like hit or miss. I swear to God. Like some days I'll be able to like just nail like 50 catches, and some days it's just like I'm struggling to like, qualify. Maybe not
Well,
necessarily that bad, but like I don't know. So
I
I
honestly
still don't
appreciate hearing
I
that.
still don't feel that I have it like solidly, but I was working on that trick for like probably over a year before I was able to like cleanly do it, I'd say.
Okay. Okay, that makes me feel better because I still feel like I'm not even close,
It's
and in a lot of
very, very
ways
hard. Don't
yeah,
beat yourself
yeah.
up about it.
Yeah, truly, truly very difficult. People don't understand how hard poi juggling is until they really try it, and they spend a significant amount of time trying the same pattern over and over again because it just takes an absurdly long amount of time to really get a pattern comfortable and for you to feel confident in it. Like you hearing you say that you're still not even confident in the 4 point no beat cascade is a little reassuring for me because it is just ridiculous. I don't know how anybody can be consistent with that trick. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
Bo just makes it look like nothing.
Shout out to Bella. God, you can't even hate, dude.
And
Yeah.
oddly enough, another trick that I suffered with for so long is the one poi Mercedes, the triquetra extension.
Mm.
That trick for me was like almost as hard as the 4 point no beat.
Which is really interesting because I can hit that trick, and it did take me a long time. It took me, I want to say, like a couple months to learn the whole thing, but there was a time period in learning the bottom pedal to the next pedal, and that was a time period. And then there was a time period of me hitting the second pedal to the third, and that was a waiting period. And then third, so on and so forth. But
That's funny
yeah,
because for me, it felt like I just couldn't do it no matter what. And then one day it just like clicked, and I'm like, okay, just gotta like push that pinky side.
yeah, yeah. It's funny
Um,
because I still remember where I was at when that moment happened for me because I just all of a sudden it clicked and I was like, whoa, that was two full rotations and I didn't even stop. Like it was a big deal for me. So yeah.
yeah, I feel that.
So when you're going through the juggle struggle and you're learning all these really difficult patterns, did you ever have any feelings of like I'm not good enough or this trick is too difficult, I'll never be able to learn it? Like tell us a little bit about that side.
Yeah, I think that's a totally normal thought to have in the process of growing and stuff. That absolutely has happened to me numerous times. I've hit plateaus, just like I imagine everybody else does.
Sure.
Some things will be harder for you, some things will be easier for you. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide if you want to keep going with it.
Yeah.
There are tricks where I deem them like, okay, the time that I would have to invest in this versus the reward may not be worth it to me. And, like,
yeah.
that's
Oh,
okay.
so I spent a year and a half or a year or whatever learning this pattern, and then it's like, okay, well, I can do this now, and it's just one trick, and we worked
Yeah,
so hard.
it
Like,
feels rewarding, and then you like think about it a little, and you're like, did I just waste so much of my time doing this?
yeah. So how do you think you overcame like those feelings? Did you just kind of keep working through the same pattern, or did you kind of like avert your attention to something else and come back to it? Like, how
So
did you approach that?
normally when I hit that type of plateau and like a halt, I'll see like a halt in my progress. I found that the best thing for me to do is just take a break,
Hmm.
because I might be just trying too hard, enforcing incorrect muscle memory, even
Mm,
because I'm just like getting frustrated and like want to do it so bad that like I'm repetitively doing the wrong thing, which can ultimately be harmful. So taking a break for me has been something that I found to be very beneficial. And coming back, like, I don't know how long it might take, maybe a week, maybe a month,
hmm.
but usually shifting my focus to something else is what helps.
Okay. Well, honestly, and these questions that I'm asking, I do want to ask them for other people, but I'm truly asking for myself because I really respect you so highly as a poi juggler. And I'm going through the same thing right now where I'm trying to learn these super difficult patterns. And some days it just feels like I'm not making any progress at all on the pattern, even though I've spent, 4 hour training session this day, 3 or whatever the next day. And it just feels like I'm not getting any closer. So, maybe I'll just try to take a break on the patterns that I'm really pushing myself to learn and kind of like shift my attention towards something else and kind of put them in the background a little bit. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, it's
totally.
hard, man.
Just releasing that like pressure from yourself because you feel like you have to get it because you've invested so much time. Like, I think it's called sunken cost fallacy, where you just feel like, well, I've invested this much time with it, I have to do this now. But if you just take that pressure off yourself, you can always come back, you know?
True, true.
And for
Yeah.
me, a lot of the shift in focus just went to like other props. Like I started juggling sticks, I started juggling balls a little more like, what's the word? Like,
Joey's going to pull up one of my favorite videos of yours when I was researching your videos and videos to watch during the podcast. I found your double staff performance at Flashpoint.
yeah,
My
that
man,
was a that was a good performance. I'm
holy
not even gonna
shit.
like
Bro, you fucked
that.
up this like you fucked up this entire performance in the best way. Like just that your energy and tech and the way you choreographed this entire thing, huge respect, man. Holy
That
shit.
was a fun one. Probably like my favorite performance I've done on stage, and I'm really glad it was on video.
That's awesome. So that was actually going to be a question that I had for you was what was your favorite performance that you've done? And truly this is an amazing one to have as your favorite because this was incredible.
I appreciate it. Yeah, that was definitely like at the height of me doing a lot of double staff stuff. Learned a bunch from Casey Hool, who taught me grid tracing. I just kind of like took it away from there.
Oh
I
my god.
yeah,
So good, dude. Your plane work is unreal and seriously so in depth. And I was talking about this on a previous episode. It's not like I'm not a fan of double staff, but it's never been something that I'm like, oh, I really want to be able to get into that or do that. But there are just these select individuals like yourself that I see do double staff, and I'm like, holy shit, I that would be fun to be able to at least throw down a little bit with double staff because you guys just fuck it up. Like,
thanks.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
don't
tell
see
us.
many people like doing double staff that much anymore. And like these days when I'm like juggling staffs, I like to like mix in a little bit of double staff tech just with like different three staff like grips and such. But got to have that third staff in there somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel the same way when I'm incorporating two poi concepts into three poi. I'm sure that you feel the same way in that regard as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, man, this was a good one. And this was what, 2017, I think?
I believe so, yeah.
Wow.
And I was actually like really nervous right before this, and I like
How can you not be, dude? How can you not
uh
be?
right before I went up, it was like the person before me who was like performing, and I was just like backstage, like absolutely pounding a beer in nervousness. And
Run it. That is
this is the
so
result, I
funny.
guess.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, honestly, I'm not encouraging anybody to use alcohol if you do not want to, but like truly, I think there's some kind of like, all right, let's loosen up a little bit, you know. Not I'm not gonna be like tipsy or whatever, but like, yeah,
Mhm.
I feel it. I've been there. Wow. So yeah, let's talk about other props a little bit. I mean, of course, this is a Poi podcast, but like, tell us when you started getting into double staff and other and eventually triple staff. Do you think it was a good outlet to kind of like keep yourself occupied and enjoying the art, and then coming back to Poi, or how do you think it influenced like your Poi spinning?
Okay, so first of all, I started double staff because I saw somebody at Flame with some LED doubles. It's actually pretty funny is I ended up becoming this guy's teacher later on, and he's the one who like influenced me to pick him up in the first place. Uh,
That
and
does not
he was
shock me,
playing with
Drew.
his LEDs, and like Casey Hool came by and was like, "Yo, can I play with those? I don't have any LEDs." And then I saw Casey Hool like fuck it up, and I was like, "Okay, that looks fun. I want to do that." Started investing a lot of time into doubles, and this is at a point where I was like at my mom's and like pretty much unemployed at that time, so I had like nothing but free time to drill. So I was investing like 3-4 hours a day per prop to what I
Wow.
was doing, like because I was like, well, I have to put in as much time with doubles as I do with poi, and
Wow. That's a
that is,
huge commitment.
yeah, it was a lot of my time. But what was your other question? It was
Yeah, how do you think it like affected your Poi
yeah,
spinning?
yeah.
Because in any way, if it did.
So being able to just take things very step by step helped me clean up a lot of things with my poi, because like you don't really get so much of that luxury with poi being
Of
like
course.
always in motion, you know. But when you take the time to just like really deconstruct your moves and uh enforce them
Wow.
in a static way. Thanks. It
Yeah, I
really
get what
like
you're saying.
it gets the wheels turning in your mind about like how things should operate in like the poi world.
You know, and I'm not a club juggler. I'm not a club guy by any means, but when I was fucking around with two club way back in the day, like fucking 10 plus years ago, I was able to exactly do what you were talking about having a static prop that you could just do. You could go through the motion very step by step and kind of like force yourself to be in the position that
Mhm.
you with poi you have to fly through. I mean, there's no like, oh, let me just put it right here and work my way
Unless you
through.
have
So
like a really stiff static poi or something,
yeah, true, true.
which is
Yeah,
basically
but
then just a club.
exactly, exactly. So yeah, that's really cool. And you had kind of mentioned just the years or the amount of hours that you were putting into your props at that time. No one gets as good at poi juggling as you without dedicating years of their life to what they're doing. So tell us
Yeah,
a little
it's
bit more
and
about like,
something I say is like it's not so much about years, it's about hours, you know, like
oh, totally.
because years aren't really an indicator of like how much of the hours you put in per day.
Very true. Very true. So, yeah, tell us a little bit about like the your like training regimen or your like your grind, how you approach getting better. Is it more of like a free flow? I'm just going to kind of work on whatever presents itself to me, or do you like work on specific things? Are you more like rigid and regimented with your training style, or is it more just kind of like open air freestyle kind of stuff?
Honestly, it's a little bit of both. Like it just depends on the day. Some
Hmm.
days I am just free flowing, doing like a little bit of drilling, and other days I just wake up and like, I'm drilling this today, gonna try to take it as far as I can.
Well, sure, because there are patterns that you can stumble across, and then there are patterns that you're not just going to stumble across being able to do 4-point no cascade. That's just not a trick. I mean,
Yeah, totally.
you have to be able to spend many hours drilling that and focusing on that pattern specifically. So it's interesting when people are able to kind of divert the amount of time that they're putting into drilling a specific pattern or just stumbling across things and being creative as they go. And I think there's definitely a balance to both for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of my favorite patterns have been found in that like flow state where like I'm just like hitting the flow and I like do something new. But in those moments, what I actually like to do is like write it down or immediately take a video, because if I don't do that like instantly, I'm probably going to forget it. And it's from there that I can build upon like drilling those certain tricks and like expanding upon those tricks. But it's very important that I like make a mental note at least of like, I want to remember how to do this. I want to remember everything about this motion.
You know, I will admit, oftentimes when I'm just really enjoying myself spinning poi, I have used some marijuana, and there are perks to that and there are downsides to that. So one of the perks being I'm more able to be like free flowy creative. I feel like that's like one of the benefits is just being able to, and again, I'm not encouraging marijuana use, all right folks, but just for me personally, right? So but one of the downsides is I will do some dope ass shit and then I'm like, what did I just do? And I cannot
like
remember.
5 seconds later, you're like, how did I do that?
Yeah, what the fuck was I doing just now?
I'll be the first to admit that that is also the situation that I find myself in a lot. Like it's very good for like finding creativity, you know, or like channeling creativity, I
Totally,
guess.
man, totally. Because I'm more able to focus on what I'm doing, and I don't have all these other distractions in my brain. I'm just kind of really locked into what I'm doing. I want Joey to pull up my favorite video of yours of all time. It's one of my favorite poi tricks ever done, period. And you're gonna laugh when you see what video is being pulled up because it's way back.
Oh,
Play it.
oh yeah. That was such a hard trick to do.
Oh my
I spent
god, dude.
hours trying to get that like how many second long clip? Like
One more time. Play it one more time. Oh my fuck, dude. This is literally one of my favorite poi tricks I've ever seen. That toss was insane. Fuck. That was, yeah. You know what's funny is I was talking about you with Joey the other night, and I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna find that video. I don't know how long ago it was posted, but I'm gonna go through his feed and find it. And I finally found it. And I was like, dude, this is it. This is the one.
I'm glad it made a good impression on you.
Dude, I
So
mean, it's seriously straight up one of my favorite patterns ever done. I mean, it's like just so creative. Just the idea behind it is fucking incredible, dude. Like, you should be super proud of that one.
thanks. So that's like one of the ones that like after investing so much time in it, because I wanted both sides of it, because through the Watson swap, which is like the spiral wrap versus extension thing, you can go into the other side immediately. And I tried so many times to get both sides of that. And that was one of those tricks that we were talking about earlier, where it's just like, all right, the amount of time I would have to invest in this is just not really worth it, I don't think.
If you ever do want to learn that mirrored, I am in full support of you, man.
Also, I wanted to give a shout out to ᴰᴜᴘᴏᴅᴇ for that idea.
Really?
I don't know if I'm saying his name right.
It's
Japanese
AOI
yeah,
on Instagram. Shout out to you. He's a Japanese poi spinner.
because I saw them do something where they just place the poi on their head, and they were doing something different with the entire idea. But I was like, I want to be able to fit that into something that I do.
Oh,
So
dude. And did you fit it in something incredible? It was
Yep,
it was
that's
beautiful. Yeah, honestly, one of my favorite 3 point guys right now. He's really doing some awesome stuff with 3 points. So shout out to you, sir.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, so which brings me to my next question. Who are your current like favorite artists that are actively spinning nowadays?
Okay. So people I look up to are, I think Bo goes without saying.
Absolutely.
Uh, um, Massimo, I don't know if you follow 423 Hunter.
I actually don't, and it's rare for
Oh,
someone to mention an artist that I'm not
yeah,
familiar
the
with.
people
So
I really, really enjoy their content, they're pretty niche, and I feel like not many people know who they are, but like uh
it's
if
your
his
taste for
Instagram
aesthetics, man.
if his Instagram is private, I will definitely like share some videos with you later. But
Okay,
I think that's someone you should absolutely be following.
okay, we'll give him a shout out. Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
Andrew Bonanov from, I think, Russia. He has been making poi content for so long, like back in like the full length YouTube video days.
They were good days, dude. They were good
But
days.
his current Instagram is poi_notes.
Great,
And
dude. You're gonna have to send me a list of these people because
yeah,
I think I follow a good amount
yep.
of people online. Good job,
I
Joey. Shout out
love
to
the
Joey, folks.
switchback stuff that this guy does.
Yeah, and I had asked you about some patterns years ago, and you gave me some advice saying that switchbacks were crucial to a lot of the patterns that you were working
Oh
on.
yeah,
So
totally.
yeah, man. I actually do follow this guy. I wasn't familiar with the
Okay,
name,
yeah.
but yeah, shout out to you, man. I love
Super
that we're
good.
able.
He's been spinning for so long, I think. Like,
Cool, cool. Yeah, the Russian tech scene is crazy, dude. I went through
let's
I went through what is it, PoiCon's Instagram and just saw all the Poi performances that were done on PoiCon, and I just went through and they were all tagged, and I just followed everybody that had done a performance at PoiCon because, like, come on, dude, why not? So,
yeah.
that's really cool. So, going back to your favorite like YouTube videos of all time, what do you, if you had to pinpoint a video on YouTube that would be the most like inspirational or your all-time favorite one video, what do you think it would be?
Oh.
I
Hmm.
know, I'm putting you on the spot here.
Hmm. YouTube video.
I'll give you a second to think and just tell you what mine is. My favorite poi video of all time is by Surreal, and I think it's either Melting
That
Pot
was
or Brainstorming, and I don't know
that was
which
actually
one.
one of the ones I first thought of, and I'm like, it might be that one.
Yeah, please, if we could pull this up, Surreal, either fuck, what do you think? Melting Pot or Brainstorming?
I liked brainstorming a lot.
Okay. Brainstorming is truly one of the best poi videos of all time, in my opinion. And this
So
man
ahead of his
is,
time.
dude, seriously, like,
That's the thing about it, is like, how long ago was this, and like how much of this stuff that he's doing in there is like still not being done, you know?
the peak of relevancy still to this day. And I mean, he must be one of the most influential poi spinners of all time. I mean, and for me personally, the man is just, I mean, an inspiration is an underword. I have watched this video, I don't even know how many times, probably more than 100. I mean, easily over the course of my life, how long I've been watching. I mean, because I think this video is like 10 years old, so I've seen this video plenty of times. I would love to meet this
Like,
dude so much.
Tether's so thin you can barely
I
even
know.
see them.
It's funny because I showed one of my friends this video, and he's spinning poi with dental floss for tethers.
I
But
remember
yeah,
when like thick rope first became popular. It was like such a weird phenomenon. Like all of a sudden everybody has thick rope like next year.
it's true. But when I first got my thick rope set, it was very loose thick rope. It was not
Yeah,
static. It
the
was just
like
thick.
it was just like thicker thicker MFP, which like everybody was using like the thin MFP, but like, oh, now it's thick. Now
Yeah,
we're using thick
exactly.
stuff. And then it
Exactly.
just
It
got
doesn't
more and more
really
stiff.
doesn't really like do anything. I don't know, like because it's the same. It functions almost the same because it's
It
still.
definitely like felt a lot different, especially when you have nothing else to really compare it to, like static rope.
True. True. I will never go back to like loose tethers. Now that I have the stiff tether life, I will never go back. So
Yeah, it
it's
has
just
its
better in my opinion.
positives and negatives, but I think the stiffer tether is like pretty crucial to juggling.
Absolutely, because it's more consistent. It's way more consistent. Like even just juggling, like when I go from no beat cascade or reverse no beat cascade into flats, and then I'm trying to go forward, I have to have some stiff tethers, man. Like flats, just the handle is going to be all over the place. It's going to look like shit. Like I don't know. You can do it clean, but for me personally, that's how I feel about my style. I
Yeah, when
need
you
some
like
stiffer.
toss the flat and it like noodles up, like
Yeah,
midair.
dude. And that's one of the biggest problems, in my opinion, with spin optics. And shout out to spin optics, like dope product. I'm not trying to talk shit, but if you don't store those spin optics like while they're
Yeah,
hanging, or I mean,
with a hair dryer to like straighten them out.
dude, you're fucked, bro. Like you throw a flat and it's doing a crazy ass
Yeah,
pattern. You're like, fuck, man. I mean, they're still dope in theory, and they're cool for a lot of things, but juggling, it's like
yeah,
out of the question.
totally.
Like,
Have you met Logan Harris?
what's funny is I'm from the same state as this man, and I have not met him.
Oh dang.
Yeah, so
He like
he
he has spin optics and he like puts some like coating over his like tethers that like
really.
made them a little more stiff. I don't know if he's like still
Oh,
rocking those or what, but like I don't
shout
know.
out to you, Logan. Damn, that's crazy. That's really
Oh,
cool.
one more thing.
Hmm.
We moved on from the favorite influential spinners. There was one
Yeah,
more person I wanted to shout out because I knew this question was going to be asked, so I like made a list in
yeah.
my head.
Good.
Andy Hersey, Hers Munch on Instagram.
Yes, I'm
Also,
familiar.
king of switchbacks, like straight up, like probably godfather of switchbacks.
For you saying
And
that, we gotta give this man a shout out at some point. I gotta like go back through the video and I'll try to give people shout outs on Instagram, because Instagram's kind of where people will follow me the most. So I'm gonna have to try to give these guys more shout out and make sure that they're mentioned at least, because yeah, for you giving them such high praise, it definitely means a lot. Because yeah, I just value your opinion very highly. So shout out to you, sir. His first name's at Andy.
yep, this is him on screen.
Awesome.
Scroll down a little bit. Scroll down. One of the ones where it's like a black background. Wait, go down a little bit more. There's one I don't know. Any one of these is going to be good, but there was one I'm like specifically thinking of that I. Oh well, it might not be there, but
It's
any one of
hard
these videos
finding.
is going to be
Yeah,
like fire.
it's hard finding the video that you're like, oh, dude, like that's
And
all
when he's
good,
not
but
doing switchback stuff, he's doing super weird creative stuff, like regardless.
yeah, very abstract. And when I think of really abstract style spinners, you are somebody that I think of because, dude, you have some of the craziest two-poi patterns with contact, and all the weird shit that you do is just so fucking cool, man. So I
Thank
love
you.
finding these spinners that are just doing shit way different than anybody else. That's my favorite stuff. So like the really abstract, creative style
Oh,
people
go to
are
that top right one. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
no, dude, go for it. Oh, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
the stuff I'm talking about.
okay, sir. Holy shit. Wow. Wicked, wicked. Shout out to you, sir. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm working on some four poi patterns, but It is very difficult. I'm working through the grind of 4-poi and trying to find tricks that I love and that still look good, because 4-poi is one of those things that it's like, okay, it might be very difficult, the pattern that you're doing, but how good does it look? Like that's kind of the battle that we face with 4-poi, is making a
Mhm.
pattern that not only is very difficult because it's 4-poi, everything's gonna be hard, but also making it look clean. I think I'm just obsessed with that shit. So I don't post
Yeah.
any of these patterns that I'm working on that are just not quite there yet. I want to refine them a little bit more. So
Yeah, I think that's one of my like faults is like I'll be too excited about something and I'll post it before I have it really clean. So like
yeah,
a lot of my
done
stuff,
that.
I like go back and I'm like, that looks so sloppy. That's shit.
Well, dude, you have tons of videos on Instagram. Like when I first started 3-poi, you were a guy that I looked at and I was like, all right, we got to start. We got to start 3-poi. Like I saw what you were working with back then and I was just blown away by the level of skill that you were already displaying with 3-poi. And you know what's crazy is you were talking about hours put in versus years put in, and I'm pretty sure I've been spinning technically longer than you, but like I wasn't into, it took me so long to get into 3-poi juggling or 3-poi at all. So like when I was getting into 3-poi, I looked at people like you to really take inspiration from, and you had that contact style that I personally love, because contact is something that I pursued for a long time with 2-poi. But you're incorporating contact into your poi juggling, which is just like, for me, is just my favorite shit. So
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
if you want to
that's a shit I
pull that,
love for sure.
yeah, Joey's gonna pull up another video. This is another one that I just absolutely loved. This performance by you was so good.
My
Oh,
barefoot performance.
you said what about this performance?
My barefoot performance.
Oh yeah, you are barefoot. And is this at EQ?
Yes.
Nice, dude.
Might have been the first year.
I really want to make it out to this festival for sure, because the venue looks amazing. Venue looks amazing. There's amazing people attending, very skilled artists, and then as well as like the battles and all that shit. Like so cool, dude.
Yeah, battles can be fun.
Yeah, I definitely want to make it out to EQ. What festivals are you attending this year? I know you're going to Flame. Are you going to Kinetic?
As of right now, I think Flame is the only one really on the radar that's
Catch him at
absolutely
Flame,
subject
folks.
to change, but that's the only one like confirmed for sure.
Okay, okay. Dude, I really want you to make it out to Kindle at some point. I almost want to like fucking sponsor you to get out there or some shit, because dude, I want to
Yeah,
jam with you out there.
Kindle.
It's
I bet that one was fun last year, huh?
oh, dude, so cool. The venue is
Yeah,
unbelievable. The
looked
venue,
amazing.
I mean,
I've never even been to Packfire before. It was
aside,
like,
excuse me. Oh my god. Aside from all the dope performers that are there and all the skill that's there, it's just the venue that is truly breathtaking. I mean, you're in these little cabins and you can just go down and burn on the beach, or you can go and hit the fire circle in this big grassy area. It's just truly one of the most beautiful places. I mean, Oregon's just gorgeous. So yeah,
yeah, I
it's
love
definitely
Oregon.
a favorite of mine. You know, I haven't even been to, the only two festivals that I've been for Flow Arts is Kindle and a new festival that happened for the first time last year. It's Southwest Flow Fest that happens in Arizona. So those are the only two that I've been to.
Wow.
Oh my god, that
That's pretty
pattern is
crazy to think about.
sick. Dude, the point, and okay, the thing that people don't realize is for you to be able to hit that while performing, my man is consistent with that pattern. That's the thing that people don't realize. Like
Very
for you to
hard.
for you to
And
hit it live. Oh,
I remember coming out of this performance not feeling that great though, honestly. Like I think I did the same one at Flame and
yeah. It was
I
dope.
think
It
I
was
felt a
dope.
little bit better about that one for some reason, but
Oh man, but you had so much soul in this. Like you had such a presence and such a
I
uniqueness
appreciate
to
it.
the way that you make shapes, you juggle, you have contact. I mean, it's just truly unique. You get to this level with poi that you're just unique and there's nobody else like you. And that's my favorite thing about Poi is if you put in enough time and you get to that level, you are just inevitably a unique person that has different skill set than anybody else. And this performance, oh my, the rolls. The rolls. Yeah. Holy shit. One of my favorite patterns that you do is that roll cascade. What do you even call that?
I guess a roll cascade. I don't know. C-roll cascade. I don't know.
You heard it here, folks.
I never really like put a name to it, I guess, but it's
Dude,
like
beautiful.
God,
that performance was fucking incredible.
One of the more fun ones.
So we're gonna get to the segment of the podcast. This is gonna be great. Where fans write in and ask questions, and they write in a question for me to ask the guest live on air. So
sure,
it's time for that segment. So the man himself, Bo Juggler, has asked the deepest and most important question to date. He asks, "What is Poi?"
What is Poi? I feel like he is making a joke about the time we had at Poi Parliament where we played this game of what is Poi, because there were people with kendamas, glow strings, like everything that could potentially be considered Poi. We like put it up for debate at Poi Parliament, which is where I met. That's the only place I've ever like encountered Bo, and I met Bo there and like befriended him. So I feel like he's absolutely making a remark about that specific time.
Good
as
shit.
For the question itself, what is Poi? I don't know if I have an opinion on this because that whole thing at Poi Parliament like changed my opinion in some ways. Like
interesting.
Or it was more of like, well, obviously a contact ball on a rope with a handle is Poi, but like,
right.
I don't know. There's some opinions about Poi out there that are different than mine, and those are valid too. So
yeah, you know, if I were to answer the question, this is the first time I've answered the question I'm asking my guest, but I will just go ahead and answer it as well. For me, Poi is just the medium that I get to express myself in. It's the medium that I use to focus, that I use to push myself, that I use to let loose and I relax with. And through all the bullshit in my life, it's always been there for me, man. You know, all the horrible or good or medium mid parts of my life, it's been there through it all. So I feel like Poi is just definitely my medium if I were to answer that with just a specific. So but that's dope that that's dope that Bo is just making an inside joke to you.
I'd say Poi has been definitely one of the most consistent things in my life as well, for sure. Like going on 10 years for me. Not many other hobbies have lasted that long, I'll say that. Except maybe
and like for you to say
out like playing Pokemon games, which I still do.
Let's go. Yeah, for you to say that you're just almost 10 years in, I mean, dude, you're truly, when I think of your juggling, your Poi juggling is like I aspired to be there skill wise in a couple years. So for you to say that you're not even 10 years in is just truly incredible because you really used the time that you had so well, and you clearly pushed yourself to learn the most difficult patterns and just patterns that you love that really represented you because you love contact Poi and you got into juggling and then you're incorporating both. So truly incredible. And I just so glad to have you on the podcast. I was so glad that you reached out to me and that you were down to come on because again, you're somebody that I've wanted to have on from the conception of this idea that I was like, dude, Drew, I want to get fucking Drew on.
Thanks, I love that.
Yeah, dude.
But your Poi juggling is like great. Don't discount yourself. Like
it's getting there, dude. It's getting there. I'm getting there with Rhea, but it's a new realm for me, and
it takes time.
Yeah, I mean,
like I'd say you're progressing pretty rapidly.
Well, I'm trying. I'm putting in a lot of effort, a lot of hours, and I'm taking inspiration from other people. And I'm just trying to do the patterns that I think are the most aesthetically pleasing and the things that feel the best for me. So, like, you'll always run into people who are like, "Oh, well, can you do this pattern? Can you do this pattern?" But it's like, well, no, I can't do that pattern. But I can do these patterns that I love and that are
Mhm.
special to me. So I think it's another really cool thing about Poi is we can do what we love the most. We can do focus on the
Yeah.
patterns that we want to see done and that feel the best to us. So it's yeah, it's three Poi has given me an outlet and challenged me a lot more than two Poi has. And I'll always love two Poi. It's always something that I kind of like. It's like a comfort for me at this point. Um, but three Poi is where I'm really pushing myself with patterns. Like I'm super close to getting Seb's forwards and backwards, and I'm just on the cusp. I can get like 9 to like 12 catches, maybe, So I'm like I can run it for a second, but it's a long road, man. It's a lifestyle. You have to live that juggling life in order to attain these patterns because it's not just like I'm gonna learn this pattern in this amount of time and it's gonna be perfect, and it just doesn't work like that. You think about it and
Mm.
it's just it's a commitment over a long period of time, and you have to
Yeah.
just dedicate yourself to it, and it's not a time frame of I'm going to learn it in 5 months or whatever. So
And the progression is gonna be, like, so slow that you're probably not even gonna, like, realize it happened over time, which is, like, the funny part.
absolutely, uh when I posted my first 3 point video, I think it was like 3 years ago, and looking back, it's just trash in my opinion. I mean, but we're also very critical on ourselves, but
Totally.
it's crazy how fast it once I got the control over 2.1 hand, my horizons started to be opened up a little bit because I had never done 2.1 hand like pretty much anything in my 10 years of spinning poi. I just didn't fuck around with 2.1 hand shit ever. So it was it was really fun for me to find a new thing in poi to like really help me push through and dedicate myself to. And so I'm very happy for three poi. Tell us, um I was going to ask you who your favorite 3 point spinners are, but we've actually like Bo and a few of the others that you had talked about.
Yeah, someone also I didn't mention, which probably goes without saying, is, Tim Goddard.
But yeah, in that list of Tim and yourself and these like really prolific 3 point spinners and jugglers, I would also put Voita up there as well. Voita is one of
Yeah,
the biggest inspirations currently. The man is
yeah,
fucking
totally.
incredible. And the way he's so acrobatic and so aesthetically pleasing, his performance at Kindle was just fucking life changing for me. Like I was shook to my core. So
Nice.
he's definitely a big inspiration for me right now as well.
Yeah, I got to see him perform at, Flame last year. It was
Ah,
great.
dude, such a cool guy as well. Like he's so approachable, so nice, very humble. Just you can just ask him really anything you want as far as poi or just motivations, and he's just such an insightful guy. So if y'all don't know who Voita is, check him out on Instagram, YouTube, all that shit. But yeah, I was lucky enough to be able to
That
actually spend a good amount of time with Voita as well. So it was just, I mean, super fucking cool.
that triquetra extension weave, like, every single direction, though, like,
Oh, dude.
hats off to that for sure.
Dude. What's funny is if you can find it, Joey, pull up that video of me doing it. If you know which one we're talking about, I'm wearing a black sweatshirt. It's a little bit back, but I've been working on this pattern for years of my life now. Like ever since I started 3 point, one of the main goals that I wanted to do was that pattern specifically because holy shit, it is the most beautiful 3 point pattern I think I've seen. Like it is
It
just
looks great. I'm
holy
jealous,
shit.
and I wanna do it.
Well, so what makes it the most difficult is doing not only hitting the triquetra on your or the Mercedes or whatever. There's debate about the terminology, but whatever. So hitting that trick in front of you and then hitting it behind you and
Yeah,
hitting it on the other side, you have to switch which one of your poi is doing the pedal and which one is doing the extension because it's on the other side of your body. And that's what people don't realize why it's so hard.
Yeah, I did
is
not
because
realize that at all, actually.
you have to rethink. Because for me, when I'm doing it in front of my body, it's my pinky or my non-dominant poi that is doing the flower pattern, and my main dominant poi is doing the extension. But when you do it behind you, it's flipped, and it is just like, dude, it's fucking so hard.
Mind fuckery.
Yeah, because if you have to maintain the same direction that it's going behind you, like you could figure out a way to not do that, but it wouldn't look the same. It's so fucking cool, man. He's a huge inspiration. But yeah, dude, I mean, any closing thoughts, anything that you wanted to cover that we didn't, talk about or anything like that?
Not that I can think of.
It was a good episode. And again, I want to say thank you for coming on the podcast. Like, truly one of my biggest inspirations. So it's awesome to be able to talk to you and connect with you. I want to be able to make it out to the east side at some point and hang out with you and make a festival out there. Because I want to meet you and take some of your juggling wisdom.
Where are you based?
Boise, Idaho.
Idaho. Okay.
Yeah. Just a little town out here, but yeah, I grew up in Salt Lake City, but Boise, Idaho is where I'm currently living.
Gotcha.
We got a really good crew out here, and yeah, it's awesome, man. I've talked to several artists about if they ever want to make a trip out here and teach a class or whatever, that they definitely should, because I could set up, a class of 20 or 30 people that would love to learn from someone like you. So if you're ever interested, or if you're ever out here, make sure to hit me up. If you ever find a reason to get out here, dude, that would be cool.
I mean, otherwise, I'm like positive our paths will cross eventually.
For sure.
I'm surprised they haven't already. But
I know, but
you've only gone to 2 festivals, so
exactly. I haven't made my way out to many festivals, or gotten my feet wet in that regard as far as flow arts festivals. But I'm really excited, and I'm more passionate about making it out there now than ever. So I'm sure that we will run paths. Joey's going to throw up your tag here. I'm sure, hopefully, the people that are watching this episode already know where to find you. But if you don't, that's his tag right there. Yeah, dude, thank Drew for coming on the podcast. Give him a shout out. Drew is always down to talk about Poi or whatever else. So go ahead and support him on Instagram. Yeah, dude. Well, we can wrap it up. But again, thank you. It was great. And I look forward to meeting with you. I really appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks, Drew. All right, peace out, brother.